bring the heat.
Here we go. We are live. Welcome everybody to the podcast. Another live episode with everybody. How's everybody doing over here?
Doing good.
Good?
We're good.
People are good. I think we should start this off with congratulating Peter. Should we do a
Ready?
congratulations? Should we get a clap for Peter? Peter, we're going to clap for you. Congratulations, Peter.
You would have jumped up and down if Milan would have lost yesterday, and with the Juventus loss, you could have.
I was thinking about it.
Out and celebration and.
I mean, it's still pretty much there. First time since what? When was the last time you guys won?
2010.
2000.
You know
So a
we
decade.
won that
Where?
year too.
Where?
We won the Champions League that year. As
Well,
well.
that one's a little bit
there was
further.
one more. Coppa Italia. That's right. That was the treble.
Yeah. Those other ones are not possible.
All the
anymore.
memories going to Pete now. Winning, he's thinking about all the trophies and stuff now. So Pete, it seems like you're glowing now too, right?
That was the sun yesterday. Finally a nice day out. Went to go play some soccer.
I think it's a little bit more than
I
that.
gotta moisturize a little better. But
How you feeling? Seriously, you feel good?
I feel
Juventus
great.
lose. Inter doesn't have to play. They could rest. Another week, international break.
well, listen. I think Inter, Sassuolo had to play a midweek game. They were gonna come back and they would have to play at Inter. Okay, we lost Andano, which was a big thing, but Radu is a pretty good goalkeeper. Last year he held his own with Genoa. It's not Padelli, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So I think even playing that game on Sunday without a Handanovic, I forgot who else was missing, to be quite honest, because it wasn't important after getting the game postponed.
Bastoni thing.
No, it wasn't Bastoni. I forgot, but
Okay.
I think
Vecino for sure.
Vecino, I think De Vrij. I think it was De Vrij.
It was
So I mean, it's a big part, but I think Inter could manage versus Sassuolo and maybe keep that run. Now you're gonna have 2 weeks off. You know, guys going international break, not getting the full rhythm. So there is a chance of a slip up in one game coming back from international. But all in all, I think Juventus losing was
The highlight of your
was
weekend.
great. Yeah, it was great.
What would you say your percentages are at now? What were they before, and then how much did they change this weekend after Juve lost for Inter?
I think Inter had 75% chance.
And what was it? What is it now?
Now it's around
99.
87%.
Wow, how precise! How precise, Pete.
We I mean, it's been pretty obvious for a little while that it's Inter Scudetto to lose. I think that's like more than fair to say at this point. We've gone back and forth, and then with Juventus losing to Benevento. Really, thanks for my. It was sometimes you never know with these guys. But yeah, I think that definitely put the nail in the coffin over there, and the only thing could be a massive slip up from Inter at this point, and some kind of rejuvenation from AC Milan, which would be, I mean, Milan, like you said, Milan winning against Fiorentina was only if they would have tied or lost, then it for sure would have went to 99.9, right?
Yeah, they got 10 points from Juventus ahead. They both have one game at hand, and if they win that game, they got 9 points from Milan. So it's 3 losses and 3 wins for the other teams. Very unlikely.
Pretty much what we all called, though, in August. I don't think there was anyone here who didn't have Inter winning the Scudetto. Maybe you?
No, I think I had it based on a certain transfer, but I think Antonio might have been the only one that didn't put. Inter
I
to win,
had
was it?
Juve Inter.
Yeah, but who'd you have
Which
winning
one?
the Scudetto?
Yeah.
Juve Inter.
Oh, Juve Inter like that. Oh, you didn't have Inter
Juve
winning?
first?
Wow.
Okay.
I had Juventus winning the Scudetto, Inter number 2. And I had AC Milan and Napoli. Those were my 4 teams.
All right, the rest of us. Antonio also said that Juventus was going to win the Champions League with Andrea.
The triplete, he said.
I believe it was triplete.
So we can't take his word too seriously. I guess, right?
Antonio says a lot of things.
He also said Ronaldo wasn't scoring his first
Good
season.
thing
in
that
Italy.
he's not here today.
Yeah, it's true.
Not to say.
I wonder where he's probably somewhere like giving us the finger or something, like very very upset at us. So it's fair. It's fair. But yeah, for everybody that's in our chat right now and available, should we start with Juve Benevento? We'll start with Juve Benevento and get it out of the way.
Yeah,
Sure.
we can go for that.
Juventus lost 1-0 to Pippo Inzaghi's Benevento. Lost ball from Artur that caused the goal for Benevento. Well played by them. And not enough from a Juve that, if you want to win the Scudetto, there was still this hope. And I think that Inter not playing was definitely a huge advantage for Inter, a massive advantage. But it could have been flipped on its head, where if Juventus wins and then they win their second game, they're putting pressure and tightening that gap with Inter, and that would have been the moment to really solidify and push and make that push. they did not do good enough. I think too many out there that didn't have on their mind the idea to win, and really disappointing from Juve. It really sums up how the season has gone so far this first year with Andrea. What's even worse is I screwed up. Before, like in the beginning of the match, before Artur lost the ball, I was like, wow, Artur is playing amazing. I was like, there's somebody that's got a vision, that's got this. I left it up there because I don't care. But then he unfortunately lost the ball. I still stand by what I said, though, that Artur is a very good player. It was a stupid ball. I don't know what he was doing, playing it across the middle. But you don't blame an individual in this case. It's not because of one player that you lost. It's really the collective and poor display, all in all, from Juve. That 9 years of this dominance of winning Scudetto after Scudetto finally seems like it is coming to an end. And then what's going to happen from here? Because I do want to give credit to Benevento. They've taken 4 out of 6 possible points from Juventus this season, which for a team coming from Serie B, usually these kind of teams have fear. They're usually scared to go up against the top dogs. And while it is a very different Juventus than past years, which should be said, still all credit to Inzaghi, who put out a great game plan, and they won the match. And I would say deservedly. You know, it wasn't that you know Juventus were unlucky or a sense. There was the penalty, which for sure was a penalty. I don't care what Peter says. He was fouled, and VAR is up in the air. But either way, even with the penalty kick, Juventus did not deserve to tie or win the game at this point. So yeah, disappointing year. I'm sure we'll talk about Pirlo as it comes on, but anybody on the match?
Well, there's a lot of probably negative thing to say about Juventus, but like you said, we also have to say something good about Benevento. They did play a game. People seems like he won the World Cup. He was jumping up and down. He was so happy, and also to do it at Juventus Stadium, it's even more sweeter for him. But so give all the credit that you want to Benevento. Going back to Juventus, where do you start? You have they still have the best defense. Juventus still has the best defense in Serie A. But the midfield is just, they need to do something about the midfield. And yesterday when they interview Allegri, they asked him about Betancourt, and he said, well, he's not the player to play in front of the defense. He goes, I made him play there for a game or two, but he's not. He's a 1-2-3 player. 1, he gets the ball. 2, he looks up. 3, he passes the ball. And to play in front of the defense, if you guys remember Pirlo, sometimes he got the ball and he would look over here and the ball would go over there, without even looking. He knew where everybody was. So they have to do something. I mean, the good things about Juventus, Chiesa, I think is a positive. De Ligt is doing, is doing good. Morata, we're waiting for Dybala to hopefully come back and be the player that he once was. But there are a lot of other that they have to look at, especially the midfield. Kulusevski, Cuadrado missing. Cuadrado when Cuadrado is missing, man, you could tell Juventus feels that bad. And this kid Kulusevski, I hope that he can find this position there. If I would Pirlo, I would put Kulusevski on one side and Chiesa on the other side. And just and let them play. Because this kid, Kulusevski, they keep moving his position, and it seems like he's not producing like he used to produce it with Parma.
I think that it was telling the Allegri interview, which we'll reference, and I know now that the cycle feels like it's definitely over. This was the nail. There was still some hope, but now the nail in the coffin is set. A lot of people questioning the Allegri sacking, even though they say mutual, but it really was a sacking, in terms of, then going to Sarri, then going to Allegri, which it builds into a deeper issue of this Juventus. I'll let Peter and Mike touch on before we get a little bit deeper. Anything you want to say, Peter? It's a great moment for you.
Besides that, listen.
But besides that, he said.
No, but I'm saying besides, it's great to see Benevento beat Juventus. Juventus was looking like they could maybe enter or coming back into the Scudetto race. So it's always good that you can get a help from Benevento. And if I had Antonio here, I would kiss him, because 2 ex-Milaniste, Gattuso and Pippo Inzaghi. One slayed Milan, the other slayed Juventus. So great to see that. No, but jokes aside, Juventus 3 years ago, they had a plan, right? They were going to have Cristiano Ronaldo bring them Champions League glory, right? Every move since that Cristiano Ronaldo signing has been very questionable. And listen, the De Ligt, the Chiesa, they've made great moves, but it's just trying to understand what Juventus was really looking at. And, Allegri, they fire Allegri because you can't enjoy a Juventus match with Allegri as a coach. He's too tactical. There's no beautiful football. If you remember, before the Sarri signing, there was a long time in between where, to a certain extent, everybody was questioning Guardiola, this person, that person. They pretty much were left with the scraps, and they chose a Sarri because, okay, it's beautiful football. He probably can win. He won with Chelsea. We'll manage. Then Sarri comes in. There's a lot of kinks in that chain. There was a lot of problems with the Juventus team. But you didn't buy him the players that he needs. You can't ask Sarri to work miracles with players that, unfortunately, Pirlo has now. And it's like, okay, the midfield needs help. So you make the decision to go after Cristiano Ronaldo. Off the field, it's worked wonders for them. On the field, they've been strained to who they can buy and who they can purchase. But they've made a lot of stupid mistakes. Ramsey, Rabiot, people might argue for certain players, but these free transfers kill your books because now you're paying a crazy amount of salary, whereas it probably been worth spending 25, 30 million on a player and then having something. Then also, like, Juventus needs a number 9. I'm sorry. If Ronaldo had a number 9 next to him, Morata, for me, he's good, but he can't be a starting number 9 for Juventus. My opinion, and that's needed, right? But yeah, just too many mismanagement, too much confusion, and it even comes down to now Pirlo when he's making decisions on the field. How many players are moving around, and it's like a guy like Kulusevski, unfortunately, doesn't have the time to settle into a squad, let alone settle into a Juventus team. Mm-hmm. So you got a lot of young guys. But I do see, like, I understand that it's an end of a cycle for sure. But you have a lot of guys that are young and can play. Now it's just a matter of
who's coaching them.
Who's coaching them, which is big. You can't be cheap with that. You get your guy. It's better get that one guy than get 3 guys that you're paying. Mm-hmm. Okay?
For sure.
And then you have an idea and you have a project. And then that all comes into place.
Mike, I want to ask you, for you, in your perspective, where is the blame on this cycle? Let me give you a couple options. Is it Pirlo coming in? Is it the players? Is it the management? Or is it simply an inevitable experience that you're going to have after dominating for almost a decade?
I think it's, to be honest, it's a little bit of both. I can't blame Pirlo for...
I said 4 options.
Yeah.
So all 4, not both. Which both?
I was going for the management a little bit and the end of the cycle, more towards that. Like, at the end of the day, there's only so much you could blame Pirlo. If Juve offered me the job, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm qualified. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to say no to it. Whose fault is that? That's Juve's management for picking someone inexperienced when you have a already player like Ronaldo who's ready to win the Champions League, and you don't fortify the team to have a Champions League level squad. And I think, to me, that's the worst. That's like a recipe for disaster, what they did over there.
And on the cycle?
And on the cycle part, realistically, if they kept Sarri or got someone like Allegri, they probably could have squeezed out another year, maybe 2. So it's not the biggest deal that they don't win this one. It's just they get someone that's inexperienced, and you wanna like play to get the Champions League. It's like an oxymoron. You get an inexperienced coach when you have the best player in the world on your squad. I feel like you got to pick one. If you have Ronaldo already, get a couple more world-class midfielders and get a top coach, even Pochettino that has some experience in the Champions League, and just go all out. You're already there.
Well, the budget, Juventus's budget is really bad in terms of their finances, which is like the biggest problem that they've endured. Yeah. Obviously, which is what everybody complains about with Ronaldo. I love what Alessandro Del Piero said yesterday on ESPN, where he said Ronaldo's not the problem. To anyone who's saying Ronaldo's a problem, It's the players surrounding Ronaldo that are the problem. When a guy scores 30 goals in 33 games or 34 games, you don't claim he is the problem. And I know people say, oh, you're dependent on this. I would like to be dependent on a guy that scores, almost a goal a game. And this is the only reason why I'm not mad is because I was expecting this. I was really expecting this. And all of us over here in August, most of us, have been saying similar stuff, even for 2-3 years now on the midfield of Juventus, that it's not up to the same caliber as it should have been in the past. I mean, it was obvious to anyone that watches football and you understand how the game goes. It was simple math on good versus bad. So I pretty much expect this. And for me, the way that I see football, you don't win a game without a dominant midfield. The only thing I would say with Pirlo, you do not sack him. Just because if you're buying into this project, you should have expected that for me, when they got Pirlo, it's fighting to stay in the Champions League. It's not to win a Scudetto. It's not. And your goal is to win, of course, 100%. If you're Juventus, you got Ronaldo, it is to win, but your expectations have to be a little bit different and they need to be, understood, managed. That was the word I was looking for. So it's not him. The only thing I would say about Pirlo is at some times I think he's forcing this 3-5-2 where Juventus is built to play a different system. It does not make sense. I think a 4-2-3-1, you get a couple really good players, you keep Ronaldo, you do not sell Ronaldo, you get 2-3 players to add into the qualities, and you have to keep Pirlo at this point. If we go back to the decision, I think that any Juve fan looks back, and a lot of them were tired of Allegri, right? They said it's boring football. He's not putting this in. But now looking back, you say they got Ronaldo to try to win the Champions League or try to go far in the Champions League, and they fired the coach that took them to 2 Champions League finals. A coach that took them to 2 Champions League finals where the team was not really matched up to be in the final, and they were only outclassed by much better squads. So looking back, it was probably a poor decision. Whether Ronaldo played a part in that, whether it didn't, who knows? But just looking back, but I think the deeper problem is the poor strategy in terms of how to build out.
The only thing is that I agree with you. If the project is, is a rebuild or not even a rebuild, because listen, this year I can accept that after 9 years winning Scudetto is an off year. But you're Juventus. You have to make sure that next year you have the idea and the project in place that maybe you're not winning Champions League, but you're going to compete far into the Champions League and you're going to compete for the Scudetto and be one of the favorites for the Scudetto. Now, that's being said, Pirlo, I agree with you. I think you give him the extra time. If you chose him, you're gonna deal with all these problems. And now the second year, he's got to perform, right? But at the same time, I think Juventus have to really come down and say, is like with Cristiano Ronaldo, there's a big question mark now. Does he want to leave? Because I think he was a deciding factor in 2 other coaching decisions between Allegri and Sarri. Ronaldo played a big part in that. And this time around, I don't think he's going to be as patient anymore. So it all depends on one guy and the project. If he believes that Juventus can make a team now to win or to, like I said, to play to win this Champions League, he might, he'll stay and maybe something happens.
But do you think that he thought it before the season, seeing his team, seeing his coach, that he thought, oh, we could realistically win the Champions League?
No, but he was forced.
Yeah.
To it.
So
now
you don't think that might happen again?
It could, but what I'm trying to say is now he sees what happened this year, and he's like, get me out of here or change something.
Yeah, or buy two midfielders.
Yeah, or buy 2 midfield. Buy someone that you're gonna say, hey, I'm investing in Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm investing Juventus winning.
Exactly. Go one way, not both ways.
Because he's got. I don't want to count, but he's got less years. Ahead of him.
He's got 1 year less on his contract. They were talking about an extension, but obviously in terms of Ronaldo, and I couldn't even blame Ronaldo at this point if he wanted to move on and go see something else, but you have to take into account the world that we live in right now where it's not as simple as going to pay a guy 30 million euros with the COVID restrictions.
You have PSG and Manchester
Yeah, no, I think he'll stay 1 more year, and if they get him those 2 midfielders, and for this year, listen, you look forward, then you have some time off now, and then you have Torino and Napoli. You win those 2 games, and then there are some matches still to be played. You never know. You can get close.
Let's move on. Where are we going next, Dad? Come on, you tell us. You decide this one.
Let's go to Roma, Napoli. Let's leave Fiorentina, Milan for the end.
Roma, Napoli. Your boy Fonseca again. Are you here to defend them?
No, Fonseca actually was very upset. I never seen this guy upset. He was upset. He said that Roma and the players, they didn't have the courage for this game. So Gattuso, once again, Gattuso's been criticized, but he did a good job. I mean, this was a big win for the Champions League. I mean, Roma has got 50 points, and Napoli now has got 53 points, and they have one game less. And they only 2 points from Atalanta, and Juventus at 55. So Napoli is at 5 points, Roma is at 5 points, and Napoli is at 2 points with one game in hand. So it's a very, very nice race for the Champions League. Mertens scored 2 goals. He's 100 goals in Serie A, 133 totals. So that was a nice. Mertens finally came back. He's been waiting for Mertens. Now he's got Osimhen on the bench, and he's got Lozano also on the bench. He's got Manolas on the bench. So he's still got a few options, Napoli, to get there.
Yeah.
Roma, I see it with the Dzeko. I think he got hurt. So they really... they didn't do a good job. They really did not do a good job yesterday against Napoli.
Peter?
I was going to say,
Your boy Fonseca?
Yeah.
They got,
well, listen,
everybody's always putting... Well, every time they say Fonseca, they ask about you,
they
Peter.
bring Peter off all the time.
bad game. It sucks because they lost to another, better team, and we know already a track record that Fonseca is not able to beat these better teams. I think it could be his stubbornness and how he prepares the matches and not willing to defend or not defend. I'm sorry, but tactically monitor or change his approach. They're still there. I mean, I understand it's 5 points from 4th place, but they're still there in the mix. I think Roma could get a pass this game because they did play the Europa League and they beat a Shakhtar that Inter couldn't score 1 goal. They put 5 goals in 2 games. So they do get a pass, and they're the only Italian team in Europe now, and they have Ajax to play. So
can't criticize them too much.
We have to, they're maybe focusing on playing in Europa League, and you can lose to a Napoli. I think you can lose. If you're a Roma fan, you could accept that. What you can accept is what Fonseca was upset about, is the courage and the willingness to want to win. And that's something that has to still be addressed with this Roma team. And, obviously the management will make a decision at the end of the year. But Fonseca is going to stay till the rest of the year. And then obviously with Europa League to see what happens. Napoli, like you said, Gattuso, he looks like he's getting beat up from every which way. But his team is there. His team is playing to what everybody would expect. It's not fancy by all means. They scored the 2 goals and they defended the rest of the game, and then they were on the counter attack. But it's efficient. You're doing it. The point is to win. And also De Laurentiis left a tweet. I think he said Forza Napoli.
Put it like 3 o'clock in the morning too.
Yeah, he was celebrating all night.
I don't know if that's...
These guys are so flip-flop, man.
Yeah,
it's like 1 week, I love the guy. 1 week, I don't love the guy. That's my only problem with
That's all
that.
the news with that, I think.
So I think if you give... Listen, Gattuso, if he gets Champions League, he's got to stay.
Well, yeah.
He's got
For
to.
sure.
It's just... His football is just so boring.
Does he want to stay?
Does he want to say is another question.
My only thing with him is I understand about winning. I guess I just relate Napoli to that beautiful type of football. It's like the brand that I have in my head every time I see Napoli. And I went from really wanting to watch Napoli games. I remember just wanting to watch them because they were so much fun and you never knew where the goals were going to come from, and they were fluid and they were attacking with Jorginho a lot. I love the way that they used to play, and it's just that's completely drained out of them now.
It is drained out of them, but Gattuso's won a trophy more than Sarri has been there for the past 3 or 4 years that he's been there. So
different teams in the league.
They were close.
If you put Sarri's Napoli inside this league, who wins? If Sarri's Napoli had to go against this Inter and this Juve, they would finish above them, obviously.
I think this Inter team is pretty good.
But they would be very...
It's going to be toe-to-toe.
They would fight. Yeah, they will fight like they did when Juventus.
I think it will be even closer.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think that Juventus was better than this Inter.
That's fair.
But you have a
Besides
point.
the point, it's hypothetical.
You have
Yeah.
a point there. But I think Gattuso, even if they fall short, I think they're one of the teams in Serie A this season that had the most setbacks with their squad, with what happened to so many players in terms of they didn't have a real striker altogether. Osimhen was out with COVID. Petani was never really started. Mertens never found a his goal scoring form, so it was very flip flop, especially with the defense. And what he's doing now, I think, is incredible. I think the team has back, and even if they make 5th place, I think Rino's gonna stay an extra season for sure.
Let's talk about Milan. Antonio's Milan, who got back into this match against Fiorentina. Looked scary at one point. So Frank Ribery get back on the score sheet. I don't know the last time that I've seen him score. I was also very happy to see my boy Benacer, one of my favorite players. When he's on for Milan, for me, just builds a different team. We got to see him play a little bit, and Milan won. What?
I'm just looking at you at Gaetano's notes. And I remember I made a comment about this goal, and Marco said, "Nah, get out of here."
What is it?
No. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All I was gonna say is that I like to see Benacer back. I'm interested. Milan won 3-2, and in a very important moment, because if they tied or lost this one, I think it would have been the fans would have been really mad. So sometimes you need these kind of wins. They did a good job by getting the win. Can I know what this is
He's
now?
gonna tell you.
All right, let's hear.
I don't know what happened to Prandelli after that game, but I don't know if he ended up, and I hope he's okay. And for the first time, they had Antonioni say something, and it was about time. So he commented on the goal that when Ibra scored the goal, he pushed Pezzella, and he pushed him with his chest, and that put him out of balance, and then he was not offside, and then he scored the goal. And when they saw it, everybody mostly agreed, from Tardelli to Pecci, that was a foul, and that should have been called back. Fiorentina still struggling. I mean, they were winning 2-1. They scored a couple of goals. They looked like they were gonna maybe be able to pull at least one out. But AC Milan is doing incredible away from home. They've won 12 games away from home, and plus tied. I think they got 37 points, and it's a record. So they're doing pretty good, and they still there with this game that they won. They still there. They still 9 points if Inter wins. Otherwise, they could be at 6 points. So it's very interesting for the rest of the season. 10 games to go, I believe.
11
games to go.
For some
are different.
Okay, yeah. So it's going to be nice games to watch coming up.
What do you want? You wanted my opinion on Ibra's goal?
Yeah.
Is that what you're gonna say? No, in today that's a foul. Today it's a foul. Because I mean, if you see that most of the time, if you push from behind, which it was shoulder, it wasn't really chest. It was his shoulder that he pushed him with and extending the arm. It's a foul from behind. They always give that. We know today with VAR, we don't know what's gonna. It's a coin. It's a coin flip. Who knows what's gonna happen with the referees? It's a rant for a different time. I don't know how many times we could keep saying how embarrassing. Things just keep getting worse with that, with the Chiesa, with this. But yeah, what were we gonna say about Milan? Why? You don't agree?
No, the VAR, sometimes they check, sometimes they don't check. Sometimes it's a yellow card, and it could have been a red card, but the referee saw everything, so they don't go and check. It's always like you say, it's a flip of a coin, and there's the protocol. Or no, this one you cannot review, this one you cannot see, but the other one.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I think
it's very confusing.
The worst part of all of it is the referee can blatantly say, "I saw it. It's not a penalty," and
he's so stubborn
all
about it.
that
He doesn't
VAR
want to check.
protocol goes out the window.
Yeah,
So stupid.
so
Like
dumb.
if he wants to be that stubborn guy,
I
and
know.
I guess his pride is bigger, or whatever.
If he doesn't believe in the technology,
And that's where we joke about Antonio, but like a challenge. You're kind of forcing the referee to say, "Hey, you got to go take a look at it."
For sure.
And I think that could be an element that is used
at this point, absolutely.
Yeah, at least you're forcing that. You're making sure that, hey, listen, even if you don't think it is, go check anyway because we really think it is, and if it's not, so be it.
I agree. I agree with you. As long as we don't give Antonio credit for thinking about that, I'm gonna agree, man.
Well, to be fair, NFL have been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, you're right. It's not Antonio's idea.
But going back to the game, yeah, I thought Milan, they have Fiorentina winning. Fiorentina was winning 2-1. I was like, wow, this day is gonna be even better. And Inter didn't even play, but Milan came back. They were able to win, and it shows that the year that they've been having. Even though 2021 hasn't been as great as 2020 for them as far as form, it was nice to see them come back from. They played Europa League 2 on Thursday, losing to Manchester United, taking a lot of energy out, and they were able to come on Fiorentina and
score 3 goals
and
too.
score 3
with a
goals.
comeback.
Fiorentina, we know this already. It's like such a
Strange.
streaky team, and until there's a real, project with a real coach, unfortunately, that you can say, oh, I believe in this coach 100%, you're going to get these performances. So,
there's one other thing that's been on my mind lately that's bothering me, and I want to make this a big conversation for the podcast. Besides the VAR, which is I'm just throwing it on the side anymore. I don't even argue with it already. The thing that bothered me now, like we said, Roma's the only team that's in Europe, right? All Italian teams are gone. Fair enough. This conversation is not for Atalanta and Lazio. I want to just say that I exclude them from the conversation. Yeah. When I was hearing Allegri talk last night, I agree with Allegri in a lot of his philosophies. Like, I think that Allegri's a very intelligent person. I think he's more intelligent than I think people give him credit for. And he was talking about this for years, about the Italian mentality and the way that just we see things in Italy. And I hate the scared approach that we have in Italy. Of the mentality that we have is terrible. Like, honestly, I'm ready for fresh ideas. I'm ready for new, coaches from different leagues, from different countries that could give a real winning spirit to these teams. Because I'm sick of it at this point. And I agree with Allegri, where they asked him about this. They asked him about the mentality. He said, "Is it just a mentality issue for these teams?" He said, "It is mentality, but it's in the culture of the country." He's like, it's a cultural problem more than anything, that this is how we've grown up. He says we don't put enough emphasis on the players, and we put too much emphasis on the tactics. And I agree with this, like, wholeheartedly. I'm totally on that board. And I know we've talked about, I really respect the Germans. I love the Germans as a model, just in their mentality. I always think about when they beat Brazil, right? And they just hammered them. They just kept going. Doesn't matter if you're winning 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. They have it in their mind that I want to keep winning, and I want to have this spirit that I'm not scared. I'm not scared. If I get a goal, if I score a goal, I'm not going to go in with that fear approach. And I really think in Italy, we have this mentality. We have this fear mentality where we dominated in the 90s, right? With our football. Football has evolved. Football has changed, but we have not. We have not adapted, and the other countries and other leagues have done better. And it's bothering me right now.
Yeah, I listened to what he said. He had a lot to say. And he did say that it's part of the DNA. So if you go into a team, you have to know which team you're going to. And if you go into a team like Juve, Juve is a family business. They have a fiat. They have to be number one. They put a lot of sacrifice into everything they do, but you have to win. Winning is the most important thing. Then he said, I coach also AC Milan. Milan was Berlusconi. Berlusconi was a TV man. He was a movie man. He was a showman. So when you go to AC Milan, it was different. There's more of a show. Now, between Real Madrid and Barcelona, even though he hasn't been there, but you get the feeling from Fabio Cappello that when you get to Real Madrid, as soon as you open the door and whoever's sitting there at the desk, they make you believe this is the best team in the world. You came to coach the best team in the world. And everything around them is you have to be the best in the world. There's no other way around. Then he talked a little bit about also Man U. If you go to Man United, you have to learn the team. It's not possession of the ball back and forth and back and forth. They want to see the ball inside the box. 3-4 passes and the ball's got to be in the box. So he says you have to learn about that. And when you talk about Italy, yes, it is a culture. It is a cultural problem. Now, he talked about a lot of things, but one of the things that he talked about is starting from the back, right? That I always go crazy when they pass the ball back to the keeper. And he did say the soccer they always started from the back. It's not something that he started now. It's always started from the back. The only thing is that now they gave him some numbers before that game against Chievo, and they looked at how many minutes the goalkeeper Buffon had the ball. He had the ball for 1 minute and 39 seconds, Buffon. Then they looked at their midfield, and they looked at the midfield that had the ball for 45 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
That's
crazy.
He goes, no, he goes, it's impossible. He
That's
goes, this
crazy.
is something went wrong over here. So he says, he went to the players and he says, listen, we are here in a very democratic, okay? We do things democratic. He goes, this is what the numbers are. He goes, if you guys play like that, I'm going to take the goalkeeper out of the game. You have to have balance, and that's what he said. You have to have balance. There are times when you cannot give the ball back to the keeper.
You kick it on.
But you can't. The guy is under pressure, and you give the ball back, and then the ball goes to the other team, and they score goals. So he said you need balance when you go forward and when you go back. And I agree with that. That's maybe I've never been able to explain it like that. It's not that I don't believe that you never give the ball back to the keeper, but now, they got 3 players from the other team inside the area, and you playing with the goalkeeper. Come on, you don't do that. That I think is wrong. And this thing with the tiki-taka and going back, you're in midfield and you give it back to the keeper, and then you're in midfield, and then you go back to the keeper, and you have the keeper touching the ball more than a midfielder. To me, that's unacceptable.
Peter, what are your thoughts on what more so what I was saying with the Italians and the mentality? Because I think it's more than just lacking skills.
Oh yeah, I mean, first off, the '90s Italy, we know already. There was an Italian team in every Champions League, European League final, right? Even a Sampdoria made it to a Champions League final in I think '92. So, and they had Mancini was playing, but. Going off that point, like, yes, the players, there were a lot of great Italian players, and those golden days of Italian players. Maybe we don't have those creative number 10, number 9 type players as we see. Italy's lacking that exact player. But we have a lot of good players. And I think there's a sense of arrogance between the Italian culture, soccer culture, football culture, where tactically we're superior. Coaching wise, we have the best coaches, and when you have that, when you already reach the top, then there's no room for improvement. There's no room for growth, and I think that's as far as a football culture, that's a problem, because now you already feel like you're superior. Then we can just focus on this tactics, and they could have the best player in the world. We'll be able to figure out how to beat them, and it only works to a certain extent. Especially like you said, the game is changing; it's more modern. It's quicker. There's less stoppage. So now you don't have the time to regroup and be able to identify certain tactical problems. If a guy is fast, he breaks down any tactical problems because you can recuperate and win a ball back, or you can beat the lines and dribble through. So there's all these different ideas. One thing that I can say also in Italy is we tend to say, oh no, we have to give time to the youth players. We have the mentality like, oh, he's not ready for the moment yet. Meanwhile, the Bayern Munich, the guy that scored versus Lazio, 17 years old, he comes on, he's starting Champions League game. Boom, go ahead, play, show what you got. And I think that also is needed for Italian football to go further, because that burst of energy and sometimes that being naive, you'll see more creativity. When you know that there's pressure, that's where you see these problems where they make a mistake in the past, or there's too much tension. And in Italy, there's a lot of tension. You're 24/7, newspapers, everyone's fighting over you. And sometimes some youth, like, you're just playing the game the way that you see, and you don't feel the pressure sometimes, right? You're just saying, hey, I'm out there, I'm playing my game. So that's what I take out of that. I think Italy definitely has to learn and be more humble and get some top players.
Yeah. It was on my mind, particularly this week, obviously with everything, with the Italian teams getting knocked out, just this sense of mentality being left behind in the dust. Honestly, I feel like we haven't adapted well. And then once Allegri said it, it was like, okay, like I really know that this is something, because when you see guys at that level say it.
The other thing that Allegri said, 1 year he said, I play against Barcelona 4 times because I had nightmares about these guys. He goes, they go 100 miles an hour. He goes, the ball moves so fast that every time you get to one of their players, you're late. He says, we need to teach the young kids how to the technique in very fast. So they have to move when you attack, the passes, they have to be very fast. And, it's not this tiki-taka, and you go back and you tiki-taka. Because when you play against Barcelona, those guys, you can catch them. And they're unbelievable in their technique and their speed. The other thing that I told was something that I would like to say was these coaches, as a coach, you need to be at the service of the players. You're there to provide a service to the players, make these players better. And I thought that was very interesting because sometimes the coach, they go there, and they say, okay, I'm in charge, you do everything. No. He goes, you have a player there. You're there for them. They're going to go and win the game for you. He goes, sometimes I made them lose a couple of games, but when they win, it's them making me win. So I thought that was really interesting. And the last thing that I would like to say is that champions, when you have a champions on the field, and when you have a champions on the and a great leader, the great leader is somebody that comes to you and brings some solution to the problem. If you come to me and you always have a problem, because you're not a great leader.
Yeah,
well said.
Gaetano.
Oh, no, sorry, not you. Will said. Allegri will said, right?
Yeah,
that was Allegri. I almost gave you credit for that.
But I feel like that's something Gaetano would say. But I'm happy Gaetano brought the coaching thing up a little bit because I was doing some reading too, and actually Cappelo said something. He was talking about the coaching and stuff, how stuff changed, and just the mentality of calcio in general. He was saying, I want to read it. I don't want to mix it up with his words. He was basically saying a former footballer who follows a coaching course in Coverciano, he invited Cappello and basically told him some what they do there. They said they rather have fashionable over concrete coaches to take class so they can learn from. I think Cappello was like, instead of doing that, instead of being in the old time, they have to get someone like Klopp or Mourinho, the best ones, and teach them from the basics and start from the basics, how to pass the ball and stuff like that. So he's basically saying to engineer the whole mentality of coaching and teaching the youth in the Primavera so it can kind of go up from the rest of the ranks, which is pretty interesting because Marco was touching a lot upon the mentality of calcio in general.
I think that's the beauty of football is that there's so many different ways to play this game.
Yeah,
there's no real one best way. But one thing that we can all say is, as Gaetano mentioned, as far as the technical ability, right? If you can do a certain thing with like the way that Barcelona does, that stems from an early age, and that's something that's got to be important as far as development of younger players. Yeah. And so interesting that you said. I wanted to make a remark. Borussia Dortmund, interesting with their youth under 15s. What they do is when a midfielder has the ball and there's pressure, instead of telling them to pass back to the goalie or pass back, they forcefully tell them, no, get out of that. Try to make, even if you make a mistake, you have to try to break that line and get onto forward front. Turn, twist, and move the ball forward. Right. Don't ever go back. So it was an interesting thing that Borussia Dortmund implements. And
I didn't know that.
U15, U15, which, they should be working on their technique, not to winning the top, the U15 championship. Yeah.
That's cool. Kind of what I meant by just being more open-minded and seeing what others are doing and realizing, hey, these guys might do this well. Can we adapt it? How does this fit into our philosophy? And not being stuck in our ways of this is how it has to be because it's worked for us in the past. Because, listen, history, yes, it's important, but it can't tell you the future. You can't just replicate what you've done in the past and say, oh, this is going to work because the game has evolved. It's different.
But it also comes down to money. Because without the infrastructure and without making the money on privatized stadiums and whatnot, you don't have the money to invest in better coaching, invest in the youth.
Fair enough.
Because a lot of these teams, after the top Serie A teams, these teams in Serie B Serie C, they don't have money to invest in the youth.
But they have to have the idea. They have to have the idea of instilling this winning mentality that we go out there to win, and we don't accept. It's like sometimes I feel like we accept being the victim. It's like, all right, we're playing these guys. Okay, that's how it goes. No, take the game to them. Go for it. Believe that you're still going to have that opportunity. And I feel like that's where we're really suffering total as a whole. Mike, what else we got to do before we wrap up?
Well, we talked a little bit about club football. We know international break is upon us too. So now we know that Azzurri is coming together for World Cup qualifying matches. And I just want to read the schedule right here. They are playing 3 games. Northern Ireland, they're playing on Thursday. They're playing Bulgaria on Sunday, then Lithuania on Wednesday. Also, some notable things I wanted to bring up. Some call-ups. Toloi got his first international cap. Brazilian-Italian, similar like Jorginho, Emerson, Palmieri. He's had a nice quote. He's Atalanta's captain now. He's cemented his place over there. He's been incredible. He said, "I never thought I could have gotten to this point. It's a dream come true. I became an Italian citizen 10 years ago." And we have like an initiation song that he is with Azzurri, but it's nice.
Can you sing his initiation song?
I have to sing.
Yeah, can you?
No.
Come on, you're on top of the table. You got to do
On
something.
top of the table.
Yeah, Inter's on top of the table. Come on.
Let's wait for Antonio to come back. Let him sing.
No, I want
Thank
Peter
you.
to sing.
Okay.
Is it Peter's song? You can't give us?
It's
This is Peter's song.
my
It's Peter's
song.
song. He wrote
I
the
know
song.
it's my song.
You wrote the song, no?
He's rolling a red carpet for you, P. Come on, you can't let us down.
Well, let's give him a second to think. Any other games that we got to talk about? Anything that we missed, Dad?
Well,
else you got written?
Spezia won this game against Cagliari, and they still they're doing pretty good. I mean, it looks like with Benevento, they are about 6 or 7 points from the third of last. So good job by Spezia.
Cagliari should have tied that. Simeone missed a tap-in. They got an offside goal in the last minute. It was a crazy fun game.
Crotone was winning 2-0, and they lost to Bologna 3-2. So Crotone, you could forget about it. They can go to Serie B. And Parma Genoa, Genoa won 2-1. So Parma is in bad shape.
And Parma was winning 1-0 too. So that was a crucial game for salvation.
Sampdoria beat Torino. That's too very bad. And the next game is with Juventus. So they're in very, very bad shape. And one thing about this Atalanta, I don't know if I understood when they started the game, but Bonetti was doing the game. He said that Atalanta was playing with 4 center backs.
They were. I checked.
With 4
Yeah,
center
4
backs?
center backs, yeah.
Wow. He said that was the first.
Gasp.
That was the first. Yeah, that was the first time they did. I actually read up on that. He said they were missing two or three of their starting wing backs that they usually play. So Gasperini was like, "Let me see how this goes," and he's like, "It worked out better than I thought."
And Toloi was like on the right side.
Toloi was the right back.
Right back.
Yeah, I think Jim City was the left back.
Maybe he could be the right back for Italy.
No, but you're playing a Hellas Verona that attacking wise they're not the greatest, so you can maybe match with that.
That's
If you had
true.
some fast wingers over there, you cannot play with a
Exactly.
full center.
And Lazio, last but not least, Lazio won. So Lazio is also in the run for the 4th place, but they will be there. They got one less game, and they got 49 points. They're about 6 points from the 4th place.
Campobasso. Let's talk about Campobasso for a second. They did tie 0-0 in their last match. They're still in first place.
Yeah.
Check the exact amount of points.
By 5 points in first place.
5 points, but I believe the second place team does have a
Has
game in hand.
Yep.
So just take that into account. Last week they did play. They scored a game winner in the 86th minute.
That's right.
The goal's on our Instagram right now if you want to go check it. Great goal, and then they all went crazy to celebrate
At ItalianFootballTV.
at late on 86th minute. So good job by Campobasso. Still staying in first place. The road for Serie C is still on the horizon. They're pushing forward. They're hoping their next games are very, very crucial. It's all against the top teams. So I think we'll really be able to understand Campobasso what the outcome will be, because Serie D it's crazy because they could be qualified in April if they would win all their games, or it could last into May. And as you guys know, we're hoping if they do are in the rise for promotion, we will be there to document everything.
Fingers crossed, guys. Knock on wood.
do it.
So we're all hoping for Campobasso to do that. And of course, you could always catch their games on their YouTube channel. They've got the entire match, but we post some of the highlights too, all across our socials. Anything else, guys? Anything we miss?
No, I think we got most of the stuff.
Juventus did a very nice thing. The one good thing that happened this week, they put on their jerseys. Mike, can you click on it so I can read it actually? Because I don't remember exactly. They wrote nice messages on the numbers of their jerseys to be able to fight against like all forms of of racial injustices. So I thought it was a nice touch from them, and we know the whole Serie did a whole campaign against that, and each number had different things written on it. It had different meetings. So it was really nice. You could check it on our Instagram for the full. I won't go through each number. But good finally from the Italian teams pushing against something that, should be doing for a long time. So we say good job to Juventus for that. That's it. Everything's good. Peter, no vagabondo, no singing.
I think you did a pretty good rendition.
Only if we do it together.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
I
would love to see that. You
We
have to go on the
start from
same side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You swap with me.
No. You gotta put the song.
Put the music.
You gotta put the
I'll
music.
do it very low then.
Yeah, put the music. We need to hear something.
But we have to switch spots too, since you guys
No,
are
we
both
don't.
gonna sing it.
I don't remember the whole song. I only know
you
the
guys
one
get
part.
it.
As long as you hear that.
Io,
Vagabondo che so io.
Vagabondo che non sono altro.
You knew more than me.
Soldi in tasca,
No.
non ne ho.
Wait, you guys do it more than
We
I
got
did.
the opera.
Oh, I gotta get Gaetano.
Yeah, wait, you're about to go on it.
Oh, that was the song that.
That was
Toloi
Toloi
singing.
Didn't the Ibra sing that song?
Oh, yeah, he
Yeah, he
did.
Ibra and Janovic and
Yeah.
Sanremo.
Yeah.
Sanremo.
That's probably where Toloi got it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I saw it from Ibra, and then I started playing it, and then
All
Toloi.
right, so I'll practice for the next time.
All right, perfect. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Ciao, ragazzi.
Ciao, guys. Whoop. And the Azzurri coming up too. There's gonna be some great games coming up.
To travel?
Yeah, Inter.